Hi, guys. Welcome to the Opinions That Matter, where we explore the interaction of mental health, pop culture, literature, books, movies, and much more. Join us as we explore the difficulties of life and our human experience through insightful discussions with our special guests. Hey, welcome to the Opinions That Matter. Today we have Sonia Chauhan. She is a writer, author, editor, and a lawyer. She runs a independent law firm in Chandigarh. And she is here to talk about a lot of stuff today, including mental health, writing, and her books. She has published two books. She has also won a contest on Amazon, a writing contest. So, yeah, Sonia, tell me and the audience about yourself.
Hello, thank you for inviting me to your show, Opinions That Matter. I like the name. I'm happy that you think that my opinion matters. So, yeah, I mean, I think you have encapsulated my introduction pretty well. So, yeah, let's just begin.
Okay, do you want to tell anything about yourself, about your books, the books that you have published, and how you got into writing and everything?
Okay, sure. So I got into writing because of a mental health issue. In 2013, I got insomnia and I could not sleep, and it was terrible. So those nights, sometimes I romanticize it now in my head because the pain is finally leaving me. या सो उस दौरान जब मैं सो नहीं पाती थी सो आई स्टार्टेड राइटिंग एंड it just came very naturally to me and I started going on this Q&A website called Quora. So back in the day Quora was a thing, right? It was a big thing. Now it's like it's still a thing but it's like very like full of bots and maybe redundant. So Quora, I started writing on Quora in 2013 and you can either ask questions or answer questions, and I don't know why I leaned towards answering questions. And there I found a community of people who I never met. They were strangers, and some of them I've met over the years, and some of them I still haven't, but they continue to be good friends. And I felt like I wasn't alone. And I felt like there are so many people who are not doing okay. So for me, writing is very much connected to catharsis and just feeling okay, feeling alive and awakened. So that was ever since then I have been writing extensively. I used to write on Medium. I got a Creative Writers Fellowship from Medium in 2019. And ever since then, I've written two books. So I've written two novellas. The first one is called You Tell Me. It's a story of two friends who are navigating love and friendship. Again, it's very much about the inner life, and people who think and ponder life would really enjoy that. And the second one got the Amazon Pen to Publish Award in 2023. So that's called This Maze of Mirrors. And it's about an alcoholic father who's looking for his missing daughter. And so it's about generational trauma and addiction. So there are a lot of somber themes in it. But yeah, I love writing. I'm going to continue. And I'm happy that I found writing, even if I found it at a dark time. It helps me. It still helps me. And I'm grateful for that.
Right. Thank you for sharing that. I totally agree with you on this. Writing has helped me personally a lot as well in terms of navigating my mental health journey and expressing myself and whatever I'm going through. So, Sonia, let's talk about how do you navigate societal pressure as a woman?
I don't navigate it. To be honest, I just don't navigate it. I think I'm quite uh, I am not liked well by in the conventional society, and I'm okay with it. It took me some time to be okay with it, but I'm completely fine with it. I actually don't diss societal expectations. I used to, but at 37, I have come a long way, and I feel like फालतू की नेगेटिविटी रखने का कोई पॉइंट नहीं है. So I've dropped that as well. It's okay that the society expects people to behave in a certain way. it's upon us to take the responsibility and the power back, whether we want to behave in that way or we choose a different path. And if you choose a different path, there are going to be repercussions. You're not going to be liked. And it's not just me. From times immemorial, like you and I have discussed philosophers, we've discussed Camus, Kafka. They were unhappy. They went their own way and they were not received well, right? And that's, I mean, that's the price you pay for living an authentic life. So I feel like I don't navigate the pressure at all. I just don't take the pressure. I take the flack and I'm okay to take it. It's the price I pay.
You know, you are like 10 years older to me. So, yes, I can take a lot of wisdom from all that you are saying. And I somewhere hope कि I can reach that kind of calm, you know, कि मैं pressure बिल्कुल लूँ ही ना. And even if people are expecting certain things from me. And yes, I think that's a journey for me to navigate right now. I am not there where you are. But yeah, it's a very inspirational thing to hear from you. So I wanted to
Thank
talk about okay, so I
Hmm.
wanted to talk about how you as a woman who do not want to have kids, how do you navigate that? I mean, how do you, you know, answer to the public or the relatives or you know the taunts? क्योंकि मैं अगर छोटी सी चीज भी नहीं कर रही हूँ एज अ गर्ल एज अ वुमन जो मुझसे एक्सपेक्टेड है, so it's
Hmm.
very hard because I hear like way too much stuff, you know, not even just as a woman, just as a person who is expected certain things at this age. Like I am definitely not married and a lot of stuff like that. Or I don't do a 9 to 5 job, what is expected of me. And those things are really hard to navigate. So how do you, you know, look at that? Let's discuss that.
Okay, sure. See, not having a child has been a journey for me. It's not like I did not cower down under the pressure. There was a time where I thought that, okay, I will, maybe it is just. I will have to tell you a little bit about how I have felt since the beginning. I have never wanted to have a child. That is the God's honest truth. But of course, I have never declared it to anybody because it's not taken well, especially if you're a married person, right? It's not taken well. And eventually, there was a point of time in my life where I felt that I was just being adamant about it. And perhaps it's something that's, you're going to like it. The peril of being philosophical is that, there are two sides to every coin, na? So, like, if you have the philosophy that I don't want to do a certain thing, there is an anti philosophy that can very well convince you that, maybe the thing is okay to do after all. So, what I felt at a point of time was that, maybe it's something that once I do it, I like it. But at this point in time, I don't imagine myself. And there are so many things in life, you feel like you're not going to like it. But once you do it, you're like, you know what? It was not so bad, or it was actually good. So I sort of convinced myself and I went on that little bit of journey. And after going on that little bit of journey, only I realized that no, man, this is not my thing. It really isn't. I need to trust myself. So, to answer with that context, to answer your question, Gursharan, I just sat my family down and I just told them very normally that, this is what it is. And of course, they, did not like that. And I sort of get their reasons as well. Because if they say, if somebody believes that having a child is going to give them some comfort and love, it's true. Me being a child, my mother and my parents have derived love and comfort from me, just as I have at some point derived security and comfort from them. So I don't think what they're saying is wrong. It's just that I don't want to do it. And then people say things like, that in your old age, there'll be someone, to take care of you, which is not true, by the way, because there are so many people. I mean, we live in Punjab, everybody's kid is abroad, and people die here, people are vegetated here, and literally the kids are not able to come back because of visa issues. So, while that's not a guarantee, but I understand that, there is just that mental comfort that people may have once they have children, that the children are there or somebody in my family is there. I don't reject that. I feel like, okay, that's a legitimate claim. But it's how I see it is, someone thinks that there is great merit in being a lawyer and somebody thinks there's great merit in being a doctor. It's just like that. Both the options are fine. You just have to choose what you want and then you have to live with the consequences of that. So I had to have that difficult conversation and it was hard, uh, but it's fine. And again, a lot of people around me do judge me, and I do get the taunts as well every now and then. But I just don't respond to something which is unimportant to me. Like if the person is unimportant to me, I don't need to respond to them. Like it happens at weddings and all, and it's fine. Like sometimes people meet me and they ask me, "Do you have a child?" And of course I say no. And then, they will give me an expression which is, like not a pleasant expression. Sometimes it's like an expression of surprise or something or the other. But I'm just like, yeah, it is what it is. I'm okay with my decision. So most people don't matter, to be honest, is what I have cumulatively realized, that nobody is thinking about you so much. They're busy thinking about themselves. So if somebody is really bothered by my choice to not have a child, it's because my way of looking at life is placing a mirror before their way of looking at life, and maybe they are insecure about their way of looking at life, so they want me to comply as well, to make to underline their way of life. That's how I see it. Except for family, people who give me flack or have given me in the past, that's how I see it, that it's actually a reflection of un their own confusion about, have I lived my life authentically, or have I taken my decisions consciously? So yeah, I think a conscious and uh, uh, conscious is perhaps not the right word. A self-aware person who's going against the flow of everything will always upset people. So I just have to. That's the price I pay for my independence and to be able to take my own decisions. I pay it.
Right. It's also the anxiety that people have and they also put on to others कि क्या होगा क्या होगा क्या होगा, what will happen,
Huh.
ऐसा हो जाएगा वैसा हो जाएगा. So that anxiety is
Yes.
definitely there, I think.
Yes, yes. And of course, a lot of times for women, what I've noticed, unfortunately, is that people want you to do something so that they can finally rest. They don't have to take care of you. They want you to follow that route, that, proverbial route, because they're like, तुम किसी पास से लग जाओ ताकि हमें tension ना हो. So it's
Like
actually
getting
giving you
married.
a very,
Like getting
yeah, by
married.
getting married, having a child or whatever, having a career or
Mm.
earning money, or, I mean, I wouldn't say that parents are wrong in asking their kids to know how to survive financially, which that's a fair ask. But more or less, I think for women, a lot of parents still have the mindset that don't make trouble for me because I can't deal with it. It's all about them. So, we have to take that power from them, and, and we have to firstly see it as power. That it is a power that I'm taking from you, that it's my life. I will take care of myself. So, the one thing that I feel parents are actually right is financial independence. If you have financial independence, then I think go ahead and take all the decisions you want.
So how do you relate writing with mental health? How has writing and reading especially helped you with your mental health journey?
I think it builds perspective, right? Reading and writing builds perspective. Somebody once said that I write to understand what I know. So we know things, but we write them down because we want to understand what is happening to us, what has happened to us. So that everything that has led to today, and what today is going to lead to, writing is an exercise in that. Even fiction writing is an exercise in that. So I think of writing as a big catharsis and a big way to connect to yourself. And I think some people find it in art, some people find it in doodling, and I applaud them. I think any form of art that can help you connect to yourself, in fact, every form of art will help you connect. It'll bring out the truth. And the truth can be unpleasant as well. So it helps you, develop capacity and develop perspective I say because बहुत सारे लोगों की life आपने नहीं जी है, you don't know what they're going through. So by reading about strangers' lives, you develop empathy. You like to see, okay, there is a life beyond me, beyond my life. There are worldviews beyond my worldview. And sometimes, something will speak to you, not in the form of a person, but in the form of a fictional person who will speak to you from a book. So, writing has really helped me. Reading has really helped me whenever I'm sick and whenever I'm lonely. I think reading is my first go-to.
Same here, honestly. Loneliness, yes. It combats loneliness a lot. It helps
Yeah,
to soothe that part of you which wants to connect.
yeah, absolutely. So you connect to fictional characters, and sometimes they also help you connect to yourself.
Hmm. Right.
Yeah.
So are you into more fiction reading or non-fiction reading?
I do limited nonfiction reading. I am not that cool that I only read nonfiction. I'm a fiction writer, so I read a lot of fiction. But yes, for my work projects, because I get a lot of editing projects of nonfiction books, so I also keep myself abreast of nonfiction works. तो मैं काफी nonfiction भी पढ़ती हूँ, but एक certain genre में I read nonfiction. And fiction, of course, I read a lot of fiction. Over the years, I've started gravitating more towards literary fiction because that sort of pulls me more. But off and on, I do enjoy like a good romantic story or a good light read as well.
Right. Okay, so I would like to ask you to give some message, some advice to the people out there who want to live a different life, who want something authentic and who want to, get through that societal pressure.
It's a coming of age thing. Like I would like to recommend a book. The book is Letters to a Young Poet by Rainer Maria Rilke. So Rilke has written this book. It's a collection of 10 letters that he wrote to a soldier, a young soldier, who was actually a poet. So he had become a soldier, but he was actually a poet. So he wrote to Rilke seeking advice that, I have a certain life and it's a conventional life and this is not me. I want to do something else. And Rilke gave him advice over the course of 6 years in the form of 10 letters. I think what I got from it, I would suggest that everybody should read that book. Even if you don't want to be a writer, it's fine. It's a book that talks about life things, you know. So I would really recommend people to read that. But what I took from that book is, that there is no answer to every question. Some questions are just meant to be lived. If you feel like you're facing a pressure and there is a question mark on your entire everything on your being, you're supposed to live that question. You are supposed to be confused. Everything that's happening is meant to happen. And so I'll quote Rilke. He says, life is right, whatever happens. If it's happening, it is right. And that is a very revolutionary thought. And it's a very challenging thought to sort of, wrap your head around. But one must. And I think you can't force that to happen. It just happens. Day by day, if we develop the practice of it, it happens. And I see so many wonderful, intelligent girls who are in their 20s, these young women, and all of them are struggling. And I was that person. When I was in my 20s, I was that person. I got insomnia when I was 25, right? So, I mean, I had worked myself up so much that it happened. And I think I sort of just learned that it's life's ebb and flow, that you do hit rock bottom and from there you do go up because you're supposed to learn, you know? So I think you're supposed to live the questions. That's one of the things that Rilke says in the book, that you have to live the questions and you have to love the questions as well. So when you love them, which is a very hard thing to do, it took me a very long time to do it. But I think we have to have enough faith that it will happen. And then, you sort of just live your way into the answer. Someday you may live your way into the answer, but
You
it's
have
probably
to, yeah,
not about.
you have to get through
Can
it. You have to live that struggle, that experience.
You just have to live through it, yeah. And I feel like one day all of it is going to awaken something in you. So you just have to like sort of dig your heels in and get through it. So a lot of advice, writing advice is also around this, right? So that's the only thing I want to say, because there is no way we can escape this.
The lived experience.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It is meant to be like that. That's how I see it, but I see it like that now. When I was there, I was chatpatawing and everything. And you're meant to do that also. If you lose
Yeah.
your shit, it's okay. That's also fine. You're supposed to lose it, na? You're supposed to lose it and lose it and lose it until one day you realize that losing it is not doing it for you anymore.
Yeah, right.
So that's how it is. That's how I think it is.
That was a wonderful answer. It helped me personally. I hope it helps the listeners as well. It was a really
Yeah.
good fun. Okay, so
Yeah. Yeah.
thank you for being on the podcast. Do you want to say anything else at the end?
Absolutely. Thanks for inviting me. It was really, it's really so sweet. I think I really like your questions. They are so honest. And because I know you, I know, I mean, we're part of a group and, we meet often. So I know some things that we have shared, together. So I feel like I see so much potential in you. And I think it's right. Whatever is happening is completely right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for saying that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Always.
Okay, so let's wrap up and do this again sometime. I would love to have you again on different topics, anything else,
Sure.
whatever, mental health or writing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to. I would love to.
Thank you for being here, Sonia.
All right. Thank you, Gursharan. See you. Bye bye.